Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are making one of my very favorite things in all of the world. I take a bite of this, you guys, and it is my childhood. It is my childhood and a fork full of deliciousness. Today we are making Southern sausage gravy. Southern sausage gravy. Now, in my previous video, you guys saw me do homemade Southern buttermilk biscuits. Now, those are the perfect accompaniment for this. That's usually how we eat biscuits in my house. We usually make sausage gravy with it. I grew up with this. It's one of my favorite recipes. I'll tell you a little bit how it became my favorite recipe as we cook it. So let's go over the ingredients that you're gonna need to make this. The ingredients for this could not possibly be easier. You're gonna need some pepper of your choice, grinder, just ground black pepper, some breakfast sausage, some all-purpose flour, some salt, and whole milk. Now, when we made biscuits, we did self-rising flour. With this, you want to make sure you're using all-purpose flour. For gravy, you do not want the extra salt and baking powder that's in self-rising, so all-purpose flour. I do just a teeny pinch of salt, but I always do an extra tablespoon of flour, and I'll tell you guys why in a moment. Breakfast sausage. Now, breakfast sausage comes in some flavors, sage, maple, all of that. You don't want that for this gravy. It will be terrible. You want just a regular, mild, or hot, completely your preference, breakfast sausage for this. You also should probably use whole milk. You can use 2%, it works. I just don't think it's as creamy. And like we talked about if you guys watched my biscuit video, I love Brahms, they're my favorite dairy, so I always use their A2 milk because Jimmy and I kind of developed this weird dairy thing while we were traveling full time. And so because of that, dairy upsets our system. But when we use the A2, it does not. And I always use Brahms sausage too. It's my favorite, it's nostalgic, I can't help it. This recipe will only take you about 15 to 20 minutes. It could not possibly be simpler. So we're gonna start our stove here and we're gonna get going. All right, let's have our pan start to get a bit hot. You want this on about a medium heat. You don't want it up all the way and you don't want it down too low. You want it to kind of start to heat up here. So I'm just gonna take a little paring knife, open my sausage here. Okay, pull this back here. I'm just gonna squeeze my sausage out into my pan because we're gonna break this up ourselves. So I just get the tube. Looks kind of nasty, I know. But you want your pan hot enough to where when your sausage hits it, you get a little sizzle. All right, now let's take a spoon, wooden spoon, bamboo spoon, whatever, with a flat edge, and just kind of start to break your sausage up. This is kind of a big one. I got this one because it would be a good spoon for me to serve it up with. Okay. You're gonna keep working on this as it starts to cook, so it's okay to let it cook a minute, break it up, cook a minute, break it up. I do want to tell you guys, sausage gravy when I was growing up kind of became like a Christmas breakfast. My brother and I would always ask my mom for big breakfast. Can we have big breakfast? And what big breakfast always meant was eggs, some sausage gravy, and biscuits. And that was something we always really, really loved to eat. So it was always special occasions or things like that, or just a Saturday morning, our mom would surprise us with big breakfast. So, because my mom's mom, always made a huge breakfast when we were all together. And we'd have chocolate gravy and white gravy and eggs and bacon. And so big breakfast was a big thing for me when I was growing up. And because of that, I love breakfast food. So I always get excited when Jimmy's family wants sausage gravy. All right, keep breaking it up as you're cooking it. Just kind of work it around. Take it a couple minutes. While our sausage is still working, I have to tell you guys, when I first met Jimmy and his family, like the first time I ever had breakfast with them, his mom was like, we'll have sausage gravy. And I was so excited because I was like, oh my God, yay. Like they make sausage gravy too, that's amazing. And she pulled a can out of the cupboard and I was shocked because I did not know that there was such a thing. Like I didn't know that they made sausage gravy in a can. So I was shocked completely. I had no idea what to do. I tasted it, it wasn't my thing, but it's purely because I grew up with it fresh. So I didn't know what to expect from the flavor. It's not bad if that's all you really have to access for yourself. Like, let me tell you, while we were traveling, if somebody had given me a can, I would have eaten it as like a lifeline because I miss sausage gravy so much. But if you have the opportunity to make it fresh, it's always much better. And I will say, since I've started making fresh sausage gravy for he and his family, she no longer feels the need to buy the can. So I'm really proud of that. We are almost done here. I try to break it up pretty good because I don't like huge chunks to my sausage gravy because then I feel like somebody misses out on some of the good protein there. So I'm gonna give it just another second. Here's the important thing about this, and I know you're gonna cringe if you're not Southern. Don't drain the fat. The reason why is because when you're gonna add the flour, you need that fat. You need that to help the flour coat the sausage. And then from there, that helps it to thicken. So the fat's important. So don't drain the fat. It won't work the right way. All right, I think my sausage is good here. What you really just wanna make sure is that it's good and browned. I like a little crust on mine, but that's, you know, pure preference. So we're gonna take our all-purpose flour and we're gonna sprinkle it all over here. This is really important because you want to well coat your sausage with this flour because that is going to be what makes it thick. That's gonna be what makes it an actual gravy. So put that initial serving in there and toss it around. Coat your sausage really good. It's gonna pick up the grease in the pan, it's gonna do all of that, but that's what it needs to do. That's what it's supposed to do. So coat it real good. Give it a quick second. If you see any big chunks of sausage, kind of try to break them up there. Okay, you don't want to see white. Here's where we take our extra tablespoon of flour. Now, I like to do this because sometimes if you didn't, I tried to make this recipe foolproof for you guys, and I think I did it, but the extra tablespoon ensures that it will be thick. Because sometimes if you use too much milk, if you don't put enough flour, it's not gonna get thick and therefore it's not gonna work. And you cannot, I repeat, cannot add flour to this once you've added your milk. Why? Because it will clump up and be gross. It will give you these little pilly pieces of uncooked flour that aren't gonna taste good in your gravy. You don't want that. So that extra tablespoon in there really makes sure that you're gonna have a good, luscious, thick gravy. So we've got our sausage really well coated here. Let it cook for about a minute so it cooks out any of that raw flour taste. All right, so we've cooked this for about a minute. We shouldn't have any raw flour taste or anything like that in our gravy. So now I'm gonna measure out my milk here. Now, it's gonna seem like a lot of milk, but it's because you're using pretty much a full pound of breakfast sausage here that you're gonna need it to be able to adequately serve everyone. So do the first bit in there. There we go. Alrighty, now let's put in our last bit of milk here. All right, now here's where you need a bit of patience, okay? Turn my burner back up just a little bit. You want it on like a good medium low. If you find it's not thickening very quickly, you can turn it up a bit. This is where you wanna have some patience because that milk needs to get just as hot as your sausage and your flour. So it takes it just a minute, but as it does that, it's gonna incorporate with your sausage and your flour and it's going to start to get thick. So that's why you wanna keep constantly stirring it, moving it around because that's how you know when it starts to change consistency like that. Now, there's a lot of differences with how people flavor sausage gravy. I'm a purist with it. I don't like a whole lot. So I just do literally like a pinch of salt I've seen people do seasoned salt, I've seen people do a lot of salt, and I've seen people do no salt. I like just a little bit of it because I feel like it really enhances the flavor. It also depends on how salty your sausage is. I know Braun's sausage really well, so I know it's not super salty. If I use something else, it might be, so I would want a bit less. Pepper. I like a load of pepper. I like lots of it. Like I said, this is complete and total preference, so I usually do quite a bit. I stir it around and then I kind of see how much I've got. This is also Jimmy's fancy pepper from Cambodia. It's called Kampot pepper, and his little grinder from India. So this is bragging, I realize that, but it's part of travel, it's fun. We bought a lot of spices while we were gone, and this is actually really good pepper. It's probably the perfect amount. I just look and see how speckly it is to see if I like how much pepper's in there. You know, complete and total preference, your taste. So we're just gonna keep stirring. This process will take maybe 10 minutes at the very, very most, just for it to get thick. But you don't want your burner up too high, because if you have your burner up too high, it'll burn it before it has a chance to get thick. So that's why I say medium, medium low. Anything higher than that, something's wrong. I can already see it starting to thicken a little bit. I chose this gravy as the first one to teach you guys how to make, simply because it's the easiest one, in my opinion. So from here, we'll make lots more kinds of gravy. We'll make chocolate gravy, we'll make poor man's gravy, we'll make white gravy. There's lots more coming, but I feel like this is a good start. If you can master this, you can do the rest. We're starting. Can you see there? It's starting to get a little thicker. Make sure you scrape the bottom of the pan as you stir it around. You don't want anything sticking. It shouldn't if you have your temperature set right. All right, I think I'm about done. Give it another couple seconds. A really good way to tell is when you put your spoon here through it, you can see the bottom. So when you give it a bit of an angle, you see the bottom. And it's clearly a lot thicker than it was before. So I'm gonna turn my heat off. A couple more good stirs here. Sorry, my burner's making noise. Hopefully that's not irritating for y'all. All right, and we are done. So this is the really kind of good sort of thick consistency there. See how it takes a minute to slide off the spoon? That's how you know you're ready to go. So I'm gonna grab a couple of my homemade buttermilk biscuits that we made in the previous video, and we'll plate it. All right, y'all, so here are our beautiful biscuits that we did in our previous video. The gorgeous Southern buttermilk biscuits that are perfection, by the way. So give this a good stir here. The longer it sits, it'll keep getting thick, so that's why you want to take it off just before it gets there. So now there's two schools of thought with sausage gravy over biscuits: closed biscuit or open biscuit. Me, open biscuits all the way. So I'm going to cut these open just like that. Then we're gonna take a good spoonful helping of our gravy and just put it all over the top. You wanna cover your biscuit pretty well, but still kind of be able to see it on the edges. One more just for good measure. There you go. There's your Southern sausage gravy over homemade biscuits. All right, I'm gonna take a little bite of a corner here. Big chunk of sausage. I used to eat this with a spoon when I was a kid because I didn't want to miss any of the goodness. Like, I still eat gravy with a spoon. It grosses Jimmy out because why waste it? It's hot. childhood, man. Childhood in a bite. You immediately get the creamy, beautiful gravy. Then you get a bite of your sausage and then your moist biscuit underneath that. Y'all, it doesn't get better. I'm telling you. The perfect breakfast for your family. So I hope you guys try this. I hope you give it a shot. If you do, please tag me on Instagram with a photo. I want to see it. Or leave me a comment below this video. I'd love to see it there too. There's a link in the description of this video to my website where you'll find the full recipe where you guys can print it off so you can try it at home for your family. You'll also see all my social media there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this for your next family breakfast, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.